Yo guys, it's your boy Hybrid Hit Squad back again with another video. It's been a minute since I last checked in with you, and as you can see from the image and the title of this video, I'm going to talk about Ralf Rangnick's Manchester United side. So as of now, Ralf Rangnick's only managed 2 Manchester United games. By the time this comes out, I may have managed 3 or 4. But I'm going to be going over his first 11 and maybe why Manchester United appointed him and what Manchester United fans can kind of expect with Ralf Rangnick going forward. And then once it kind of comes to the end of the season, the plan is for him to go into a consultancy role, as we all know. It's been very well shown out there in the media that he'll be having that consultancy role once the season's over with Manchester United. So let's go straight into it. I think we can start with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Unfortunately, he lost his job. I suppose by the end, it really deteriorated to a point where the United ownership didn't feel like he could take them any further. And you know, it's football. You know, these things happen. And I'm happy that he left in I wouldn't say a good way. There's no good way to leave your job, but I was happy that he was recognised by the fans after the fact. I mean, the same fans that were calling to cry to get him out were the same fans crying that he left. But it's just football. Football fans, we're fickle. We're a fickle bunch. And yeah, so the first Ralf Rangnick game that he had managed was the 1-0 win against Crystal Palace. And in that game, he'd gone for the Ralf Rangnick standard. It's like a 4-4-2 or 4-2-2 or 4-2-4, however you want to say it really. So in goal he had David De Gea. You know, to me that's pretty much a no-brainer. Even now, even through the bad form, and he's not as good as he used to be. There's no shadow of a doubt. There's no doubt about that in my mind. He's still their best keeper at the club. Dean Henderson's still got a bit of way to go, and he hasn't got as much experience as David De Gea as well. So yeah, David De Gea started in goal. Then Alex Telles at left back, and this was a real difference because under Ole, it didn't look like Alex Telles was anywhere near the first team. But in Ralf Rangnick's first game, he slotted him in there, and Luke Shaw was on the bench and nowhere to be seen. And then at centre backs, he had Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof. Those two, that's pretty much a standard partnership at this point, and they did a pretty decent job, to be fair. We know Maguire's strength, his main strength is in bringing the ball out of defence, and he's able to do that, and he's done that quite well in Ralf Rangnick's team, and I'm sure Ralf Rangnick will be looking for him to continue to do that, take advantage of his for a centre back is a decent passing range and decent drive. I mean, that's what he's got. He's able to bring the ball forward, and that's his main strength. And hopefully, Ralf Rangnick will be going forward. Will want to take advantage of that. Then at right back there, Diego Dalot, a good player in himself as well. I think what we're seeing now is almost since Ralf Rangnick's come in, they're taking the handbrake off. You know, they're playing 2 attacking fullbacks. You know, Alex Telles and Dalot, they're very attacking. They're decently fast. I mean, they're not the quickest. Diego Dalot, particularly, they're not the quickest, but they'll bomb forward. They'll get involved in attack, and then they'll support the overload of those half spaces that Ralf Rangnick wants to create in those areas. Then at central midfield, we've got McFred back again, Fred and McTominay, and I think there's been a lot of talk out there. I mean, why Fred will suit this style so much better? It's because he's a ball carrier. I mean, he's an engine. First of all, he's got a good engine. He's got good legs on him, and he'll get about the pitch. And you never have to think. You never have to doubt his effort. You know, he'll always put in a shift. But he's a ball carrier, and it looks like Ralf Rangnick, he wants this midfield pivot to be a destroyer and a carrier, which is essentially what they are. Under Ole, it was like he kind of wanted them both to be that as well as distributors, when neither of them are really that good at distributing. So they won't be asked. I mean, in this system, you don't really need a distributor as much because you're not. It's rock and roll football, you know. As Ralf Rangnick has explained, it's rock and roll football. It's 100% commitment to the press, so you're not deep. You're not often deep dictating play. You're up the pitch, compressing the field. I'm trying to win those turnovers quickly and get the ball back as quick as you can. So you're not really going to have slow build-up. So a distributor isn't as necessary. A deep distributor isn't as necessary, and hopefully going forward he'll try to make he'll be trying to take advantage of the passing range of Maguire and Lindelof as well. Then ahead of McFred, he played Sancho and Fernandes. Sancho, another one who would be a really good fit for this style of game, because he came from Dortmund, where this is a similar sort of football that they play. Not exactly the same. It is a bit different, but in terms of pressing patterns and the intensity, shouldn't be too different for him. The shape might be a tad different. That's not a problem. Sancho, he's still young and he can adapt. Oh, sorry. Then they had Bruno Fernandes ahead of him as well. Again, in many ways he's the main man for Manchester United, and similar to Ronaldo, you can't really have him without him. Even though he's gone a decent period without scoring a goal, his talent is unquestionable in my opinion, and he's a top player. And he'll fit into this team as well, because he'll continue to work hard, and his attacking contribution arguably second to none, nearly, in terms of being the best player in the league last season. It was, in my opinion, him and Salah up there. De Bruyne as well, in terms of, we know his quality, but he was injured as well. Bruno Fernandes is one of the premier midfielders in the Premier League at the moment. And up front he had Rashford and Ronaldo. Again, two strikers up front. Both of them got a lot of pace. I mean, Rashford's Rashford's got a lot of pace and got a decent engine on him. Doesn't necessarily track back as much as I'd like, but going forward can press really well. A decent finisher. I mean, he's not great. I mean, in my opinion, he is overrated. He's fake stats Rashford, because I don't see a player there that's that great. But it is what it is, I suppose. And then you got Ronaldo up front. Again, like Bruno Fernandes, he's damn near undroppable at this point. And even at his age, he's still quite quick. He's still got a burst of pace. He's not going to be running around for 90 minutes like Fred or Sancho. That's not happening. Or Tellez or Dalot. That's not happening. If Ralf Rangnick's expecting that, then he'll be disappointed. But I don't think that is what he's expecting. I think he's aware of what Ronaldo is at this point in his career, and it's about maximising your return, essentially. He's got bursts of pace, and he's quick for periods, and even if it means he's playing 50, 60 minutes a game and then coming off, he'll do that, because Ralf Rangnick would rather have someone like Ronaldo who's 100% committed and works and gives that 100% for 60 minutes than gives 70-80% for 90. That's what Ralf Rangnick would prefer, and I think that's what he's going to get, because I think like I said, that's what he's going to get, because I think in the Arsenal game where Michael Carrick was a manager, we were seeing a bit of Ralf Rangnick's style being implemented before he was even officially coaching them, but obviously he was likely involved also, and we saw Ronaldo work his socks off, get 2 goals, and then came off. He looked knackered by the end, then he came off. And nonetheless, a really strong side, and like I said, under Ollie, this team is good enough. I'm looking at this team as good enough. This isn't even the team that they were playing at that time. They were playing the likes of Pogba, Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka. They're not even in the starting 11, and this team is really good as well. Then you bring in the likes of Pogba until the end of the season. The likes of Pogba, Van der Beek, Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka. I think there actually is a future for Wan-Bissaka under Ralf Rangnick as well, because he's a really good one-to-one defender. And where Man United going forward will be committing so many players forward, it's useful to have a really good defender like Wan-Bissaka who can deal in those one-to-one duels. But he's not perfect. He's not the finished article at all. He's still young. He'll still be looking to improve. And that goes without saying, of course. But yeah, let's quickly go through the starting 11 again. And this is the sort of shape that I'll expect them to be playing going forward as well. Maybe not Ronaldo and Rashford up front every time. I expect Greenwood to come in because he's a ridiculously good finisher as well. Also expect Van de Beek to come in more as well. Yeah. So we had David De Gea, Alex Telles, David De Gea in goal, Telles at left back, Maguire and Lindelof at centre back, Dalot at right back, McTominay and Fred centre midfield double pivot, Sancho and Fernandes ahead of them, and then Rashford and Ronaldo up front. So guys, let me know who do you think the next Manchester United manager will be if after the 6 months, once the season's over, Ralf Rangnick goes into a consultancy role. Who do you think they'll take over? Where do you think this team will finish? And do you think they can win any trophies this season? I'd be interested to know. It's been your boy Hybrid Hitsfield, and I'm out. Peace.